Hello everyone, this is Ashish. Welcome to the Talk and Fire podcast. I'm having with me Karthik sir over here and Miss Komal Taya. As always, Karthik sir is doing the inauguration of a guest in the podcast. This is the first time we are having a guest over here and we are going to have some fun. So if you do not know, most likely you won't be because we are introducing him to you guys. Is that he is a videographer, does a lot of photography. And sir, how would you define yourself? What happened?
No, I like the part that you said I was a videographer. Then I'm actually a photographer who does videography.
Yeah, let me add, he's the most humble person, most sweetest person you'll ever meet. Yeah.
And
Too kind.
so he used to be a tech guy. He
Yeah.
used to work in IT. How many years did you work over there?
So I used to work for about, I think, 9 years and 11 months.
Yeah.
The last, no, 9 years and 6 months. 9 years, 6 months in IT. And so it was like 5 years in one company and another 4 years and 4.5 years in another company. So I started photography, I think, midway through my second job because we got work from home. There was no office, and I had just had my slip disc surgery, and I needed some hobbies, something nice. And it was basically my actual photography journey started professional work types. It started as a present for my wife.
Okay.
So for our first year anniversary, I wanted to gift her a photo shoot. That's something that she's probably not had done before. So I spent that time, I'm like, okay, now anyway, I can't go work out. So I used to be like I used to love working out heavy and stuff like that. Post my slip disc surgery, I couldn't do any of that. So I spent that time researching about how to take photos. So photography has been a part of my life since I was a kid, since I was very, very young. My dad, I think, instilled that love for photography because he bought one of those film cameras. Canon X1 was the first film camera that he had. And he used to love taking our pictures, my brother's pictures and family pictures and all of that. So I learned, I think when I was 3 or 4 years old is when I would pull the camera from him and say that I want to do something. And he actually let me do it. Let me waste a lot of film. And so by then I had that camera in my hand.
You used to do all that after film photography. You have to do those chemical things. No?
So I didn't do that.
Okay.
Dad got it done from somebody.
Yeah.
But he was the one. So he used to get those printed and used to paste it in the albums and all of that. And then after that, we moved to the Kodak film cameras. And then after that, we moved to Sony Cyber Shots. And every function, family function, every function, it was like dad would give me the camera. And I would be like, no, I want to go play with people. And then he would be like, no, you need to take photos. So I would just keep randomly taking photos just to fill up the card so that I give it off to him and then go run off and play.
Did your father just forced photography into you?
Yes, I think earlier in my life, he forced it into me. And then over a period of time, thankfully, my dad, he understood that photographs are important. My dad, my mom, both of them, they understood that photography or photographs are an important part of somebody's life. So they used to, even during my school days, college days, they used to give me small point and shoot cameras, not expensive ones, but small ones. And that used to help me keep memories, like my college days and my friends. So now after 12 years, 13 years of friendship and all, I give my friends photos as gifts for their birthdays and all. They'll be like, oh my God, you have these photos. So it's a very nice feeling because, so they knew that those things would be important and they let me have those small cameras. So yeah, coming back to how I got into the whole professional thing.
Yeah. In college also you were pursuing this profession of photography or just for passion?
Not even for passion. It was just for time pass. I used to have those point and shoot cameras just to capture moments with my friends, like birthdays or trips and something like that. Something that and the worst part of all of that was because I was the one who was taking the camera, I was not in any of the photos. Horrible it is.
That is a tragedy with the photographers.
Yeah, man. It's really bad. It feels bad because I would see all of their photos and I would not be there in any of them.
Yeah.
Don't worry, in this podcast, you won't be having that problem.
All right, the audience over here is screaming their heads out that give us some perspective. I'll do that job over here. So, guys, this is the first time we are thinking of having a guest on Talk and Fire podcast. We don't have 3 mics over here, even though we plan to do that in future. So, me and Komal will have to adjust that over here. Komal, as you know, is pursuing modeling as a career. So, that is how we met Karthik sir. He did a photo shoot with her, and
correct.
you can find it on Komal's Insta also, in Karthik sir's Insta also. That is how we met, and then like we resonated. Kind of cool person he is. Obviously, you are going to find out.
He's being very, very kind. And I have paid him for being kind.
Yeah, but we cannot disclose it. It is kind of like under the table. But still, I'm going to do my job. So please continue from there.
Oh yes, from the photography to how did I get into this? I wouldn't say professional. I just wanted to make some nice pictures for her. Like I like making memories. So I was like, okay, so how do I go about it? So I did the reverse process. Instead of buying a camera first and then experimenting, I did the editing first. I learned how to edit photos in professional softwares like Lightroom and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And from there, I understood that, okay, these are the settings I would need to change to make it look nicer. These are the things that so I would just pick up raw files from you. So YouTube has a lot of these good photographers, and they sometimes put up their raw files there. So I used to download their raw files, and I would go through each slider in that Lightroom thinking, what is this doing? What is that doing? So I spent 3 months on that. And that 3 months I showed my wife hell, because I would late in the middle of the night, she would turn and she would see me with an iPad looking at, okay, this slider does this slider does that. So even now she hates me for that, but then it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So you did engineering, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was more like because everybody was doing it, I did engineering.
That is how most of us do it.
Yeah. No, I didn't know that, I honestly didn't know that photography could be something that we could do. It was never told to us, neither did we have the kind of friends group that I had was all either engineers or doctors or MBAs or BAs. So it was difficult to think beyond that box, even though that my dad was an artist.
What does he do?
He's a doctor whose hobby and passion is painting.
Oh, all right.
So I think my creative juices flow from there. So even though he has his hands, legs, everything firmly planted in that passion, we never thought it could be a profession. And everybody said at that time, whoever I talked to said, electrical is a safe subject. You can take up electrical.
Didn't they say mechanical is a evergreen field?
No. They said electrical, mein job mil jayega. I was like, ठीक है, job mil jayega.
What year was that?
That was, I think, 2003.
Okay.
2003. 2003.
That's too old.
Yeah, man. And the best part was it took me 5 years to finish a 4-year course. Because I didn't
So you got a year back and
Yeah. So I was
got a lot into sports, right?
No, I loved sports. So because of that, what happened was that whatever interest I did not have in my subjects went into basketball. I used to pour all of that energy into playing basketball. So eventually my grades fell. My percentage fell. Okay. So I was like a 80% grader. I'd come down to some 60%, 65%, just managing to get through.
Yeah.
And first year somehow managed. Second year full dunk.
Okay.
Full. It was so bad. I had 3 backs in the third semester and 3 backs again in fourth semester. I'm like, okay, this is not happening. So I rejected the entire year's marks and then went down 1 year, and I didn't want to sit at home and write those subjects.
So what was your parents' reaction on that? You're back and all?
Thankfully, they did not, they were upset, of course.
That is like your parents are cool if they are just upset.
Yeah, they were just upset.
Don't just beat you down.
They were just upset because I think they realized that this was not something that was good, or that was something that I was happy with. Because what happened was that, let's say I was studying these subjects, but I had no idea of what was the application of these subjects. So you get it? Let's say you're doing power electronics. You're studying a subject, but nobody tells you why are you studying those subjects. why do we need this? Like, if you're studying this subject, what would you need it in which component? Get it? So it didn't cross my mind. And when you never understand what you're studying for, you're wondering, मतलब इसमें interest नहीं है, क्या करें? तो fail हो गया.
That's where your artist comes. Why, when, how?
You're like, a lot of people do a lot of things without asking these questions, and those who do, they decide not to continue that, right?
So
but you did pretty good, right? How did you manage to get a job after a year?
Yeah. So that happened because after I dunked my second year, and before I rejoined my second year, my friends and me decided to do an internship. Thankfully, it was my friend's idea. He said, you also come along. So we did that internship, and there was a manager who was nice enough to sit with me for about a couple of days and explain to me ki agar you study this subject, then you will probably use it here. You study this subject, you'll use it here. So he made little connections in my brain ki okay, if I'm this will be useful here, this will be useful there. So when you find out that okay, has some use and some practical application in your life, you develop a little interest. I was not fully interested, but you develop a little interest to study. And plus, of course, I couldn't fail again. I mean, no parent would forgive twice failing. So I developed that interest, and I started studying better, and then my grades also got better. So by the time I reached my third year, I was doing pretty decently well. And then I got back to playing basketball also, and still didn't fail.
When did you get your year back? In first year? Second year? Okay, you got it over there. Okay, then finally maybe in your 7th semester you got placed and all.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, that story was amazing. So this first company that came through was TCS. It took about I think 120 people from our entire batch. It took about 120 people and went. And I didn't. So TCS was supposed to be the easiest to get through, and I didn't get through, and I freaked out. I'm like, oh my god, now what happens? And then Infosys came second. So when Infosys came, I was like, no, I have to get through. These are mass recruiters. If I don't get a job, then what will I do? So I was like, okay, मतलब शकुंतला देवी का book पढ़ लिया, ये कर लिया, वो कर लिया. All that I studied. इदु ओदबेको, अदु ओदबेको अंता. I studied everything.
Okay.
And then the test somehow was. I did well in the written test. I did well in the math section. I did well in the English section. English was thankfully good to me. So English section mein acha ho gaya.
Yes.
Then they called for the interview. Ali interview le enagide andre that person who was asking the questions, I don't know, either she didn't have the patience or she was just somebody who came for time pass.
Infosys interview.
Yeah. 5 minutes she asked me questions. She's like, okay, so what is the extracurriculars you do? I said, basketball khelta hu, I study, I read, and I do all that. I said, okay, in this CV that you have written that you organize fests and all of that. I said, I do. What were you doing in the fest?
Yeah.
I said, I was the creative director, and I used to do the whole theme and then the paintings and all of that I used to do. It's like, oh, okay, done. I was like, no, they didn't tell. They didn't tell at that point of time.
Yeah, every now and then I think your mother tongue comes. We don't really understand.
Sorry, not my mother tongue. So my mother tongue is actually Telugu.
Okay.
So sometimes Kannada comes off in between.
Okay.
So then she said, okay, done. Now anybody who does a 5 minutes interview is obviously freaked out ki, okay, this is not happening.
Yeah.
So I was full dejected. I was like, oh my god, second mass recruiter also gone. No, what do I do?
Look at your expressions.
No, it was exactly, I can relive those moments very, very clearly.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, abhi kya karna hai? What do I do? Yeah. Should I wait or should I go away? But there's always some hope, na, ki, okay, you've at least gone to the interview stage. Let me wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I will sit. And then 3 hours I sat there. I waited.
Yeah.
A lot of people did that interview and they left.
Yeah.
They didn't want to know whether they got through or not. But I waited. I was like, okay, I will wait. Then they called all of us who attended the interviews into the amphitheater.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there. So they started announcing who got through department-wise. And those people, so they didn't put my name with my department.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, so my department's names are gone. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, ye bhi gaya. What do I do now? What do I do? I was like, internally, I was freaking out.
Yeah.
Freaking out.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay. Then they said that there were some last few names and all of that. And then my name came. I couldn't believe it. Like, I literally could not believe that they announced my name. So when my name came, I literally shouted in the amphitheater. I shouted, yes! And I was almost flowing out of my chair because I was so relieved.
Yeah.
I was relieved. And then I went back once everybody left the amphitheater. I went to check. Ki, Pakka, I've gotten through. Is this my name? It's my department. Then when I got out, I was like, king of the world!
Yeah.
King!
Less did you know back then, like 10 years later.
No chance. No ways. If you had told the younger version of me that this is where I would be sitting at this point of life, I would have laughed at your face. I would have thought you were mad.
Didn't it come in your mind just for once that you should follow your photography passion forward in your life?
It was never a passion back then. It was something that I was interested in doing. It was hobby. It was for creating memories.
Yeah.
Like whenever I used to look through those photos, I used to feel happy, connect back to my friends. I'd call them up.
Yeah.
So all of that used to happen, but it was never something serious.
Yeah.
And then I got into job. I was like, हाँ यार अभी ठीक है. And best part was I did well. Like Infosys training, I actually enjoyed the training because it was a whole process of creating the software from end to end. Database till UI and the entire process in between. I loved Infosys for that simple reason. Like they would help you make softwares like that.
Yeah, basically what you did in your job was not really what you studied in electrical engineering. It was completely different. But you liked it maybe because of your creative behavior, right? So you can create something.
And also the thing was that during my engineering days, even though we studied electrical, the companies used to come and take only girls during my time. I'm not joking. I'm not
maintain a ratio.
Yes. Yeah. That was the reason they would come take an interview for the entire class of 68 people and they selected 7 girls. 7 girls.
Even if they are not deserving one.
No, it's not about deserving, not deserving. They were deserving. They were very good students.
Yeah.
But it was also that there were also other people who probably would
Deserved
have gotten
more. Yeah.
would have gotten it through.
It's like unset quota.
Yes, quota filling. So then imagine the two companies. They took there and they took them and left. And then we were like, okay, the two biggest companies. So maybe I think took a couple of guys also. Took only girls. And so imagine in a class of 70 people, only 15 people got placed in electrical companies. Abhi hamara kya?
Yeah. Nobody gives you that assurance now.
No chance. तो सब IT चले गए.
Yeah.
And उस time पे तो 2008 when I joined IT, I was peak recession.
Oh, you passed out in 2008. Okay, I know that a lot of people who even got the job, they were never called for.
They were never called. A lot of people from my college itself.
So you were not also called?
No, Infosys was nice. They called everybody.
I still remember there was one brother who also passed out in 2008. So the company who hired him, that company shut down. It was Satyam.
Ooh. Bad luck.
Yeah.
Bad luck.
Pretty good college. It was, I think, Triple IT or something. Yeah.
Yeah. No. And it was, so we were just happy that we got jobs, and we were happy when Infosys actually gave us our offer letters and said joining dates. And when they gave the joining dates, I'm like, my parents are so happy. Beta Infosys ja raha hai. Because us time pe, Infosys still had that, I think it still does.
Yeah.
Like anybody in the rural areas, anybody in the villages, anybody there. Like so when I got my holidays, I went through to my city and town and my village, family members and all of that. Wahan pe, they know Infosys because it's there in books. In textbooks and all that, they know Infosys, they know Mr. Narayan Murthy, they know all of this.
Especially in Bangalore, right? Yeah.
So when my mom used to tell people that, beta Infosys join ho raha hai, and then people were like, oh, Infosys. Mom was like, oh, full proud feeling.
Okay,
Infosys.
tell me one thing. Like we all saw 2020 thing, what happened with COVID, but we don't really remember or know we're mature enough at that time. But you just got a job in 2008 recession. What is worse, 2020 or 2008?
Uh, I don't know. For us, because we were in college, 2008 seemed like the worst time because a lot of us were out of jobs. A lot of people didn't get their offer letters.
What about payment and all?
Payments was reduced, but it still came.
Firing?
Firing happened. Firing happened on a huge scale. And the problem was that at that point of time, people weren't able to find other jobs. And even now I'm totally out of touch with my IT profession and all that. But even now it seems a little serious because they're not only cutting salaries by percentages, like 20%. And let's say they're saying that post-COVID that it will get better. But what if their salary structures doesn't change? Because to get that 25% hike back will take another 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So it's
We don't even know when is post-COVID.
When is post-COVID? No idea. No chance.
Yeah.
So I think back then you weren't having a job. Right now you still have a job, though it is salary cut. You still have a job. Back then we didn't. The jobs weren't even there.
Yeah.
Like I've met friends who hadn't had jobs for 2 years after that whole recession 2008. Even though they passed out in 2008, 2 years no jobs. Because what was happening was more and more engineering mein. So it's like we have too many people coming out of engineering. Too many people like me who
Doesn't want to be.
it's not that I didn't want to be, it's like we were confused. So when we were confused, it just felt easier to just go with where your friends are going. मतलब हमारा mob mentality ये है कि it's just easier to go where the crowd is going.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to work your way on your own.
Yeah. So, sir, what was the turning point when you realized that your hobby is turning into your passion? What was that point? Or was it a slow process? Or
It was a very slow process. It was a slow process because I think first, so when I was working, and I think that whole period hit when I was in Infosys. So when I came to Bangalore, they have a parking lot in one building. There's a bridge. You cross that bridge and then you go into the working area. Okay. And Infi has one of the biggest campuses. So that means that almost, I think they had about 20,000 people working there. So every morning, we used to park our bikes in the parking lot, then go in that whole bheed mein, you go in that crowd. It's like a bottleneck. So from the parking lot, you go into that bottleneck, climb that bridge, then go to your working area. And very honestly, Infosys was nice to me. It was nice to me. I loved being in that campus.
That was your first job, right?
It was first job, and I loved coding. I loved developing. I loved that whole feeling. Everything. It was nice to me. It was very nice to me. And I would work from 8 o'clock till 5:30, and then after that leave that campus. And they had all good facilities. Like gym was there, sports was there, and I enjoyed those facilities to the max. Even weekends पे वही पे रहता था on campus because the facilities were so nice. Gym, movies, सब कुछ उसी में. So that point, one day what happened was like I was going through a little low phase कि क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं? Like what am I doing with my life? Is this it? Because it had become like a routine. Again, Infosys was very nice to me, but it was still the same thing day after day. There was nothing different.
Tell me, does everyone face that, or is it only like few people who face it, or everyone does not take the action after that?
No, it's not that. So for me, it was more grave because from that point, that mindset, I was walking in that parking lot, and then I got onto that bridge, and I looked ahead. There was this whole crowd of people. And then I look back and there's this whole crowd of people coming in from the parking lot side. I felt like a small ant in that entire crowd. I felt like right now, if the world or the earth opened up and I fell through, it would not matter to anybody. People would still keep going on. So it became like I had lost my identity. I didn't know who I was in this big crowd. I was just one small piece of that puzzle. So it hit me the hardest.
Like why you exist or what is your purpose, things like
What
that.
is my purpose?
Importance.
It cannot be to be only in this small
part of existing crisis.
Yeah, it was like that. It was like I am one among this whole sea of people, and nobody knows my name. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows what I do. Is this how I want to continue with my life? That was like a huge question. That one day when I was standing there on that bridge, I was asking myself, is this it? And I was scared. It freaked me out. Because more than anything, like once we find our feet, once we are standing on our feet, the thing that we crave the most is creating an identity for ourselves, creating a name for ourselves, that we want people to know who we are.
Exactly.
What we
That's
do.
human nature, I guess. Every human wants that.
They want that. They want to be in somebody's memory.
Yeah.
Whether it's a small part or a big part, you need that identity. You need to find that space. You need to find that name for yourself. Make a name for yourself. And it, like being in software, I don't know, it didn't seem that it was. And it took me 5 years after that thought to even venture there, if you get what I mean. It took me 5 years after that. So like I continued working there, and then after that I shifted another job. And so like what you asked, right, like does everybody face this? So what happens is we all somehow make excuses to be in that safe routine.
Yeah, because even those people who are not doing that or trying to make their name, they still do admire people who are trying to make their name. So if they like it, they would like to be that as well, but they don't go for it.
Because you have a lot of factors coming in. First of all, let's say maybe you have family responsibilities. I think that is probably one of the biggest reasons why we get a stable job, because we have to answer for something. Like maybe it's for our security or our parents' financial security or somebody's financial security. We want to have a monthly paycheck coming in, because that is something that we build on. First preference, first priority. Safety net. You need to have a safety net. Then the second thing is that you get used to a cycle. Getting up in the morning, going to office, spending time in office, then coming back home, doing whatever, sleeping, and then so you get used to that cycle, and then it just becomes a part of your life, and any change that comes into that becomes scary. We can't handle change that easily. Like me personally, even now, there are some things that are so deeply ingrained in me that any change to that status quo, I start having panic attacks. So it takes a lot to break out of that routine, that cycle, and most people don't find it. So we are all scared.
Yeah. So I actually forgot what I was trying to say. That happens every now and then. But yeah, that is one thing that we all crave for, but it is difficult. That's that decision that has to make. But don't you think that, see, once you have done that, I've also done that, Komal has also done that, but what we have found out is that once you make that move, it is not that scary afterwards, isn't it? Most people are afraid of that.
It's
No, before that I want to ask one more thing. How did you gather that much courage? Like that moment, that particular moment when you were resigning.
It was not resigning. So that jump actually happened. So let's say I did that photo shoot for my wife, and from there the photos went to my friends and friends of friends, and then they started asking me for photo shoots. So initially I used to do it I would not do it for free, but I would do it saying that, okay, see, you pick a charity that you like, pay 1,500 or 2,000 rupees to that charity. Okay. Show me the invoice, and I will come and do whatever shoot that you want.
All right, you're a charity kind of person.
That is installed. That whole feeling was instilled in me from my mother.
Okay.
since the time I started earning, since the time dad was earning, since whoever in my family earns, she would keep a part money for collecting and then going out and helping in orphanages and old age homes and all of that. And me personally, I'm scared of going there because I see that and I see the pain and I can't handle it.
Then you can't be happy.
I can't be happy. It takes a couple of days for me to get back to normal. So I would just give it to my mom. She would go help out. I know it's very selfish thing to do, but I literally could not go into those places because I would be scared. I'd be like, how can people do this to their own parents or their kids?
Okay.
And it would hurt me emotionally for about a couple of days, and it takes that much time for me to forget that images and come back. So I would say that to my friends, like, okay, you pay to this charity and I will come and shoot for you. So from there, I started getting, this is paid work itself, but it was not
They are not paying you, they are paying someone else.
So they were also feeling happy. I was also happy that my work is getting some kind of recognition and my work is helping other people as well. So then those small shoots became a little bigger. And then what happened was a friend of mine helped me get a job in Bangalore Times as a photographer.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, I was a photojournalist for about a couple of years.
While you were having your IT job?
Yes.
All right. So when did you manage to do it?
So I was balancing both.
Okay.
So I would work my IT job at a different time, but mostly sometimes in the night or sometimes in the day. And most of my events, these Bangalore Times events, would happen in the evening. So I was a page 3 photographer. I was the Bangalore Times. Bangalore Times is what supplement and page 3 and all of that. So most of these events used to happen in the evening. So I would finish off work by 5-6, and then I would do these events in the evening and then weekends. So like that, my network built. Over the weekdays, evenings, and then weekends, nights, and all of that.
You found out that you can make money out of it.
Yes, slowly, I started making money out of it, and slowly it became. It was never a substantial amount because I was doing small shoots. I was doing club nights, club life. I think I learned a lot of photography in shooting club nights because club nights is dark. You're pitch dark. Almost like you can't see anything.
Yes.
So if you learn how to take good pictures there with your flash and with bounce. So my flash photography journey started from there. I would use my dad's 30-year-old flash, which was still working. That when I was a kid, he had bought that flash. So I used that flash, which had no control of power, nothing. So I would learn my camera settings so that I could compensate for that full flash. And slowly I started understanding the flash hit, how it works, and better pictures, so how that journey started. And I started migrating. I started understanding that I can make some. I used to make about 20K, 25K, some amount of money. And I had a lot of friends who helped me out in that phase.
Did you ever feel like, my God, there's a lot of money over here like that?
Never. I never felt that there was a lot of money. But it was nice because slowly I started getting confidence that even if my IT job failed, I have another skill set that I can exploit.
Yeah.
That confidence, I think, was probably one of the building blocks of actually, quitting that whole IT sector and coming here.
So when did you actually quit?
About 3 years back. So my boss at that point of time wanted me to transition to mobile. I was a web application developer, and he wanted me to transition to mobile, and I wasn't doing that well because it was 10 years of being in one technology, and I was like an old dinosaur. Like I didn't want to move, I didn't want to change. So that lack of movement and change, he decided that okay, I was not a good fit, and he let me go. He said that okay. Actually, he didn't even give me any warning whatsoever.
Oh, nice.
He was like Friday night I had talked to him. Monday morning I was fired.
Oh.
Yeah. Very cool it was.
Very clean it was.
Very clean. By Monday morning I realized that I couldn't access my mail, and then I knew okay.
What the? Like they did not give you anything and they just cut it out all of a sudden?
So Monday morning, early morning, I didn't get any mails. My mails were directed to some other employee of mine. like not employee of mine, sorry, my teammate. And then that teammate calls up and says, why are these coming to me? So then I figured, okay, then they're letting me go.
All right. So you got fired, but you never looked for any other job in the
No.
same field. So that is what people say about IT. It is a young kind of, you have to be very fresher kind of to be continuously adapting.
Like I enjoyed coding and developing in the beginning. I really did. I still love coding, and it was something for my creativity to be able to make code for myself. But so what happened was, as in when more managerial stuff got in, like I had to manage a team and all of that, and my development reduced, I started losing interest.
Yeah, you have to roll with the punches every now and then. And have you watched that movie Up? I think it is Up in the Air. The guy's job is basically firing. Yes, so that is what his pitch was. Whenever he was firing someone, that anyone who has done anything great in his life has been sitting over there where you are right now. So I like the fact that you never went back to getting that kind of job again. You said that this is it. I'm going to do my thing.
This was it. And it was very difficult for my parents because I wouldn't say their argument was, but it took a lot of convincing. I think the biggest support during that time was my wife.
Lovely.
She was very strong, and she's
independent too, right?
Not just independent. It's like at that point of time, she was so gutsy. She said that even if you didn't have any money, I can still run the house. No problem. Okay.
Nice.
So that primary fear that I had, that I wasn't able to bear the responsibility for my family, that primary thing that I wasn't able to get that monthly income to help around in the house, that fear, she said, it's okay. We have savings. And I also had anticipated that some point of time this was going to happen. So before anybody quits, I mean anyone, before you guys quit your jobs to do photography or anything that you love creatively, any art form, have some amount of safety net.
Oh yeah, that is obvious.
Like I saved up about 2.5 to 3 lakhs.
Yeah.
I had that safety net.
Yeah.
Because
you have to have that.
I was like, okay, even if it's 20K a month that I have the safety net, I am able to
survive for
1 year without a job, even if I don't get anything.
Yeah.
So that
Ashish
safety net is
also
very
thought the same.
important.
Ashish also just use the same.
My idea was also same, like 2 lakh rupees I can survive for 1 to 2 years.
Correct. That's a mindset. Yeah. So again, that's another safety net that you have, that okay, if even for this 1 year, it's impossible that I will not find something to do. Like,
because to build anything you need time, no? That is also
Anything
very
takes time.
important. It will take time.
especially in the service industry, it always takes time. It takes time to make your name. It takes time for everything.
Yeah.
So at that point of time, my wife was like that biggest support. She's like, even if nothing happens and if you have to waste 1 year, it's okay. We can deal with it. My parents took a lot more convincing, because they were like, you have an engineering degree, you have an MBA degree. Why are you doing this?
We have to please the society.
No. It was not about pleasing society. They were afraid for me.
Okay.
So my parents, they didn't care what society was thinking. Obviously it was difficult for them to tell that my son is a photographer. It took them a couple of years, I think, to say that. But they weren't afraid of society, or they weren't afraid of all of those things. They were afraid for me, that what if I didn't have a job and that my money was not coming in, how would I be mentally? They were afraid for that. I told them, it's okay. It will be fine. And it took me about a week to come out of that IT mindset, because first 2 days I woke up in the morning, had a bath, and I started dressing for office.
For 1 week.
That's for 2 days. Okay. For 2 days, I would dress for office and then realize that I don't have office.
Yeah.
It was like a complete
10 years
detox.
Training, no?
Yeah, it was like a detox for me that point of time. It was like, suddenly that whole mindset was coming out of me. Then it took another 3 or 4 days for me to stop waking up at that time. I would wake up in the morning. Then it was like, okay, finally I started enjoying the fact that, okay, I am my own boss. Now free.
Yeah.
my own boss, and I could take up shoots on my discretion.
Okay, before that, did you plan for something like how I should proceed ahead, or this is my plan, this is how I'm gonna walk ahead, like that, or you just walked randomly, like I just want to
No,
do
no, no, no.
like that?
So I had I knew that someday this would happen. So I had made, I wouldn't say provisions, but I had made a network of friends, of people, or of workplaces that I could work for to make at least 15 to 20K a month. My first year, my goal was to make 3.5 lakhs
Okay. Yeah.
annual. 3.5 lakhs annual, which comes to about, I think,
20 something per
yeah,
month. Yeah.
no more than that.
Like that is the basic
Approximate.
salary of fresher in
Fresher.
teachers and all. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, 3.5 lakhs, I have to hit this financial year. And if I can hit this, next year I'll make it to 4.5. Then the next year I'll make it to 5.5. So these are like small goals I had kept for myself. Ki I will hit this. So then I started working towards those projects. I would take up those projects, small, big. And then I started. So the first, I think, it was scary a little bit, because I had to take up projects I didn't like also, just to fill up that monthly quota.
Yeah, well, I've not been in a job for like 10 years or so, but I would think that if you are in a job for 10 years, there's always like someone is telling you what to do. So you don't have to think about that. So wasn't that difficult? Like right now you have to dictate what you have to do and all those things?
No, it was actually very refreshing, because for a change, I had to work for my own job. I had to go shoot for my own job, edit for my own job, and get paid for what I asked for. So that whole thing that this is mine, as a freelancer, that whatever I quote and they agree and then I deliver and then they pay me, that whole cycle was very refreshing. Because otherwise, in an IT sector, the software, the requirements were coming from somebody. I would make the software. I wouldn't know who used it, who it was going to. And monthly, it was coming to ki no matter how much effort I put in, more, less, or whatever, I was still getting paid the same amount.
Yeah. See, that is the thing about the job. No, you are never going to be paid as much as you're worth.
Yeah.
That is how they make money.
That is for sure.
That is a rule of business. You don't pay that much the person deserves.
Not, I mean, some IT companies, if you're like
Business
with a
runs on profit, no. So
you're always working for somebody else.
Ultimately, they are going to make more money, no? That is
For sure.
Yeah.
So you're always working for somebody else. So, and for a change, so this means that you have to look at your own self. You have to look at your own profits. You have to look at your own margins. You have to look at how to get yourself better. So that means that you start thinking of yourself as an entrepreneur. You start thinking of yourself as your own boss, your own company CEO. And how do I go about managing that? So then you start developing the ideas. Ki, okay, मुझे ये करना है. I have to do this. Ad ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಇದು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. So that whole idea starts coming into your mind that, okay, if I pitch for these things, if I pitch for this shoot, how do I pitch? How do I make sure that 2 months I do this and then next month how do I get this? So you start forcing your brain to come out of your comfort zone. That takes a lot of time. The transition.
That is another thing, that you have a skill that will create money even if you don't have an employer. That is a big one that very few people can really understand.
Correct.
Yeah. So you can survive on your own.
That's another thing, is that you need to know how to market that skill.
Yes, obviously. See, when you are on your own, then you are the marketing team, you are
your sales team, you are your everything.
Yeah.
You are your workforce, you are your CEO, you are your boss, everything. So understanding the market and understanding the people. So you have to be a people's person. You have to have that thing about going and talking to people. Being social.
Yeah.
Being social. It is very essential. As an introvert, you will get work, but then somehow or the other, what happens is that it becomes difficult and it takes a lot longer process. Anybody can do it, but the process is longer.
But this field is also of contact making, no?
Correct.
So even if you're introvert and you just do the work, maybe you did not connect well with them, your frequency did not match. So next time you never know that when is the next time,
Correct.
right? So that is the problem with being
वहाँ पे,
introvert.
and also the thing is, as an introvert, you, like, your skill will speak. At any point of time, your skills will speak. Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, your skills will speak.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot longer to market if you're not a people's person. You will get there eventually, but it takes a lot longer and it takes a lot more force of mind. As a person who is an extrovert who talks to people, it's a lot easier because people remember.
Yeah.
People remember you talking to them.
Yeah.
But I've seen like majority of the people in general, what I've seen from experience, that majority of the people are introvert only. They won't be able to talk to many new people. That is how human beings are. And out of
is extrovert only.
that, I don't know how he was exactly before he started or got into it, where he's running the show. What about you?
My personal mantra in life, I have a couple of them. So one of them was that I'm an ordinary person living an extraordinary life. So with that mindset, I would always know that I was not particularly talented at photography. Whatever I have come through is hard work. I had an eye for detail, but I was not talented. So my other balance was that I was able to talk to people.
All right.
So that balance I was able to create work for myself because of that balance of skill and people.
Yeah, that is the thing. Like, I've seen so many people who actually incorporated being extrovert into their life because they found it as a need. But obviously, if you are naturally an extrovert, it definitely helps.
It helps. Being able to talk to people helps. Being able to understand people's requirements helps a lot. And connecting with them on a personal level is a huge boon.
Yeah, for example, Komal, you see, I think she's the best example at it because whoever she works with, she's like super extrovert. People will remember her. But
Correct.
I would be on the opposite side. Like, I do not gel up with people very quickly. So I had to put that in myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that was possible when I first met you, and I felt like that.
Yeah, what was the first impression when you met us?
I thought that he was a bodyguard. Really? I thought that he was there to make sure that you were safe.
That was part of the reason.
Yes, and that he had this
He's always there with
he
me.
had this very sneaky eyes. He was like looking, he was making sure that no going out of line. He looked like he'd probably punch me or something like that. But it was
I just got that face.
when you thinking like itna patla ye kya kar lega?
No. I know Bruce Lee, bro. Matter what?
Yeah, plus you were already following him on the Instagram, no? So you must
No, that was after the shoot.
Was it?
Yeah, it was not.
Okay.
It was after the shoot.
Okay.
I think, yeah. So I didn't know him personally, but I was just glad that you were bringing a friend along.
Because of your reasons.
Yeah, but we loved your ethics. The way you work and the way you worked with us. It was completely professional.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I just removed her.
It's fine.
In between her talking.
Hey, it was nice that people are fighting to talk about me. Yeah.
I didn't even realize.
No, I was actually going to turn the conversation to Komal only because the next part you guys are more expert. Like, about your photography only, that we are very glad that you were let go and you decided not to go for your job again, because now we got a photographer, this world got a photographer, and Komal got to shoot with you. So Komal, tell me like about Karthik sir's photography from the eyes of a model. Or
I'm blushing now.
Yeah, the best thing about Karthik sir is he has a very good control over lights. The way he plays with lights, I think nobody can. I just love that part. When you'll scroll through the Instagram of Karthik sir, there's something catchy you'll find. That part I loved about the photography of Karthik sir.
You are being very kind, but my mentors or whoever has got me into this whole light
No,
scenes
from third person, because I checked your Instagram, then I approached you. So whatever I felt, I wrote to you, and that's what I felt.
Yeah.
Just now what I did.
No, I think you're a very sweet person. I love playing with lights and colors. More than lights, it's colors. Like,
yeah, colors also like.
Especially the color red.
I just included that in lights.
that is the reason why the background is red today. He likes it. And by the way, we decided to change the setup. I know that everyone who is a frequent follower of this podcast would have noticed that what happened. But
I'm sure that it's a good change.
yes,
It's
and
a very nice change.
last-
Except that it's not very flattering for my profile, this way or this way, but it's nice.
yeah, you should have selected your shirts properly.
No, I mean, yeah. Yeah.
By the way, it's Karthik's pictures over it written
Yeah,
over
see?
all over.
Oh yeah. So I asked.
Yeah, full branding I'm doing.
I asked him that what is the story behind this T-shirt, and he said that I'm not going to discuss that before the podcast. So now is the time for you.
Branding. I think it's very important to have a little bit of branding. People told me that, so one part of branding that I like is I used to carry around, what do you call these? Cards. My professional cards.
Okay.
Business cards.
Yeah.
People told me that it was outdated and that, why am I wasting so much money and all of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe it is outdated, but I would always remember that whenever my dad used to come home, he used to get these cards from his representatives and he used to keep them. It's not that he would throw them away, but he would always keep them. So this was from growing up. So I always felt that business cards, see, you're going to spend maybe 1,000 rupees on making those business cards. But even if one person comes back, one person remembers that you've given them that card and how you've behaved, how you talked, and he comes back to you with a job, with that card, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Even one person. So, and it has happened to me that a lot of people, not just one or two people, but a lot of people have actually remembered that I've given them business cards and have come back to me with work. Like, I actually, even today, I carry like a card, this thing with my business cards.
All right.
Just in case I have to, give to people. See? I don't know. It's so this was about branding. So this T-shirt was also that whenever I would go for shoots, which were my own shoots, that to have Karthik's pictures, to have there, to just be there.
I'll tell you the whole mentality. So when we were moving to this new place, we were selecting these packers and movers. So there were basically two who were rating very well, and we saw one with all their employees with T-shirts of their brand, and the other one did not have that, and we selected the one which were having T-shirts because it's much more professional.
It's more professional. It looks nicer. It looks cleaner.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the exact same reason why I wanted to get these T-shirts.
Yeah.
And another small happiness for me was that these are old T-shirts, but I actually want to make some new T-shirts with my logo which I have registered. Mm-hmm. It's a small happinesses in life. But I actually had my logo which has Karthik's pictures and it has that R mark. Yeah. It's a very small thing, but it gives you immense happiness thinking that, okay, this is another small step. Yeah. So my journey through photography has been a lot of these small happinesses put together.
Yeah.
Another experience was when somebody contacted me to put up my work in the newspapers. I think that was like the biggest mind-blowing thing that has ever happened to me. Like since I was a kid, I would see these supplement papers of people sketching and drawing, and they would put up these, and I would be like, someday I want my work to be in the papers and my face to be in the papers. I think that's one of the biggest reasons I joined Bangalore Times as a photojournalist, just to see my work on paper. Yeah. And my name there, that small
what is the obsession of humans with their names being there for long after they're gone also?
I think that's the whole thing of having an identity.
Yeah.
Like maybe once a lot of these papers have gone online. Mm-hmm. Maybe it'll stay online, it might not stay online. Mm-hmm. But the idea that even after I'm gone, even after I'm not there on this planet, even if I'm like a dirt speck on this planet, my name might be there on something.
Yeah, it is like we cannot really run away from that, right? It is built in us. We want to preserve ourselves.
We want to be remembered. We want to have somebody or something, some point of memory to have there, Mm-hmm. I think that's probably one of the biggest driving forces for me. Like, when I had that moment when I've been very grateful to have very nice journalist friends who actually put up my photos and their papers and all that.
Yeah.
I think that was the point that changed my parents' attitude. To actually to see my face and to see my work in the papers, it changed them into recognizing that their son was doing something.
Okay.
That being an engineer would not have ever helped or got him to this stage.
Engineers work like collectively. Artists work individually.
Correct.
Yeah. One more question, like I don't know, you may be interested in answering that. Like, was the earning you're getting from this photography and all was more than
No
the
chance.
one?
Nothing. It was probably one third of what I was earning with my IT job.
Okay, but you were satisfied, you
I
were
was happy.
content.
I was content. I'm still trying to be content. Because now what has happened is that over the course of being a full-timer, what has happened is that your love, your profession, your passion, your love and your passion, they become your profession, they become your job. So slowly, what you start finding out is that you have to start doing shoots you don't like, or you might not be interested in, just to make sure your monthly income is satisfied. And because again, you're searching for that stability and you're searching for that security.
Yeah.
And then you realize that your work or your creativity starts getting stagnant because you're trying to fill up that secure position.
Yeah.
And then you reach a stagnation.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to find out how to break that ice.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my work was not something that I was happy doing. But the work that I loved doing, I was not getting paid for. So then what do I do? So within my photography itself, there were things that I liked doing. And then things that I was doing to make sure that I put food on my table.
Yeah, see, that I can tell you about that with one simple example. Like, a lot of people get into YouTube, making videos on a weekly basis. They start doing it because they enjoy doing that. But then at some point they think that, can I quit my job and do this full time? And when they do, ultimately YouTube becomes their job. And then they struggle with the same routine and the same old. So we are all like cursed in some case, that we all want security. We want to take risks also, but we want security also. Like, what do we want?
Correct. So it's like you're you climb up the mountain, you've reached that stage, and then you're stuck on a plateau, and then you don't know how to do it. So what happens is that now that my passion and my love has become my profession, I needed to find some other way to actually have a hobby and to have some peace of mind. I think that's when scuba diving came into my life.
Explain about that. Let's start.
It's this exact sequence. Passion and love became profession, and I was feeling very restricted, like very constricted, and I wasn't finding happiness in doing this. So I needed to do something else and then come back to photography. So scuba diving was in my bucket list since I was in college. It was, I think, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara was the movie that changed that. 2011 it came out. I think that changed everybody. I think that's what put scuba diving on everybody's
Then you
bucket
must
list.
have watched Hangover also.
No, Hangover I didn't watch.
Hangover does not have any scuba diving in it.
No, like that is little bit a copy of this.
Yeah, they
Zindagi Na
do
Milegi
crazy
Dobara.
stuff when they are drunk. It is different. But
That's different.
Yeah.
But scuba diving was like, so I watched this in Infosys theater, and I was sitting in the third row. Okay, so third row, that means that the screen was like right above. So that experience that they showed, of them floating in that water was so mind blowing. It was like, nahin, sometime in life I need to do this. I have to do this. Bucket list mein chala gaya, and I forgot about it. Then it was my wife who reminded me that, see, you're feeling this way. You're feeling like claustrophobic in this profession of yours. Take some time off. Because I was working continuously. I hadn't taken a break. I was doing shoots and I was trying to make a name for myself and all of that stuff, and I'd totally forgotten why I had gotten into photography in the first place.
Your wife is a wise woman. We
Yes,
need to
yes.
get her on this podcast as well. Maybe you both should be over there. Like
Totally.
such wisdom that you put away. Your wife already knows. Like she's having a job, but still she knows that you're following your passion, but you need to do something different.
Correct. She was the one, and I totally believe in the universe's energy, because the day she told me that go for scuba diving, I think that will change your life, that will change your perspective. I called up Aquanaut. I had gotten their contact through another through some acquaintance of mine, and I called them up, and they were closing down their their enrollment for their scuba diving thing. They were going to Lakshadweep, and I was the last person. And that person on the phone, Abhishek, he did not expect me to go and pay for it. So they gave me the last price. They gave me a discount, and he didn't think that I would come and pay for it. But I landed 1 hour later in his office, and I paid him that amount, and he's like, I did not think that you would come, but we are glad that you're here.
Yes, yes.
And then, so that's how I met Abhishek. And then after that, I had to go through the swim test.
Yeah.
And I failed miserably in that swim test. Like, I almost drowned. And again, I have a great fear of the ocean. Like, I'm scared of drowning. I'm a Piscean, but I'm scared of drowning. So it's a very contradictory thing.
You know how to swim, right? When did you learn?
I learned, but it was on 4 feet of water.
Okay.
I still had the fear of drowning. I learned how to swim,
Okay.
but so in that in that swim test.
So you saw yourself in Hrithik Roshan in Zindagi?
Yes, but yeah, a lot fatter version of him. But
That's not true. You used to be very, very good.
Yeah, but when I was
Very
doing
better.
that scuba diving thing, I was still
Okay.
fat. So I was down, and I was walking out of there thinking that I would never be able to do this. That's when I met my instructor, Neha Contractor.
Was she beautiful? Just like Katrina Kaif?
She's a very beautiful person. I mean, come on, you shouldn't compare Katrina Kaif. My instructor is a lot better.
Okay, I was not even expecting. She was a female.
Yes,
All right. So it's like pure Zindagi Na Milegi.
totally. And
Where were
seriously,
Farhan and other guy Abhedul?
they coming on the trip. They're coming on the trip. So Neha, she caught hold of my shoulder. I was like completely depressed. I was like, I can't do this. I'm afraid of drowning. I can't do this. She caught off my shoulder and she's like, don't worry. You can do this. I will be there. And I have no idea. She gave me so much of strength that I did the whole steps, and then we had the whole scuba diving experience, and I fell in love with scuba diving. Like that whole,
Feel like going for it.
it's and you think so. When I saw that movie, I was like, maybe Hrithik Roshan was a little exaggerated when he came out of the water and he was crying and all of that, and then that whole silence sequence in the boat. I was like, is this possible? But I swear to you, and I'm not lying, when you're down there, it's just your breath that you can hear. There's no other sound, and all that you can hear is you breathing, you living each breath of yours, knowing that that's what's sustaining you, and you're weightless, you're floating around. It's one of the most beautiful feelings in the world. There's nothing that I can say that can make you feel that can describe that amazing feeling. You're just in a whole different space. It's like meditation. It's like you're just there in that exact moment, knowing that you're alive. Yeah. And I did. So the first 2 or 3 dives, I wasn't really good at it, and again I had that whole fear that maybe this is not for me and all that. But Neha and all the other divers who were actually experienced, they were like, don't worry, it'll suddenly click. Mm-hmm. That whole floating and the whole thing, floating on, as in balancing, your buoyancy, everything will click. It's just a matter of time. And then I think it was on the 6th dive, when it was like all natural to me.
Yeah, like when we people who have never done it, we think about scuba diving, we think that it's just standing and walking just inside water, but it might be something different. Like we should get into it.
It's an experience.
Did you get like some life wisdoms over there down there?
Life wisdom maybe not, but you tend to understand that you're a very small speck in this existence. In this universe, you're this very small speck, and that your problems are very, very inconsequential. Like, we make it out to be a lot larger in our mind as we keep thinking about things, issues. I have this bad reputation among my friends as being a very pessimistic and very depressed and very sad person.
Is it?
Yes, and I have done that. I have had my episodes of negativity.
We never had that impression so far.
Thankfully, you have not seen that side of me.
Because of scuba diving, I think.
No. I've had those episodes in the last year because of coronavirus also. I've had that episode.
Yeah. By the way, you guys don't know because I'm hearing the headphone. This moving of the headphone and this microphone, it is irritating, and I just want to apologize to the audience, but we need the third mic quicker. That's it, and we are going to continue.
Yes,
we are sorry.
Don't be angry at me that
it's not his fault. It's the fault of Talk and Fire podcast. We take the responsibility.
But really, I mean, I think everybody should at some point of time, if it's possible for them, have this experience, because it will change your life.
What about skydiving?
That's also something
that was in my mind. You just stole my question.
It's something that it's another experience that I want to do. I think it's a lot more risky than scuba diving.
It is a lot more risky. I don't think anyone has died scuba diving.
No.
Obviously, everyone has died doing some people must have died eating hamburgers. But scuba diving, I don't think people really die.
I mean, it's again like
I've heard that in places where they do skydiving, like 50 people close to that every year, they die. That is the ratio.
Yeah. So it's a lot more riskier than scuba diving. So I think I personally might just stick to scuba diving for the rest of my life.
You don't want to get LASIK surgeries because there's a small fraction.
Yes. There's a very, very small fraction of this thing. I don't know. I think scuba diving feels a lot more safer, and especially with the kind of team that I went with for both of my dives. I think it's just a very life-changing experience. I've actually come out of my scuba diving experience, actually sat on the board and cried, and that has actually happened. Literally, I think the first time I dived with sharks was that experience. Like I could see them go right by me.
Sharks go around you, they don't eat you?
Yeah, they don't. It's a huge misconception. We are not natural food for sharks. Everybody feels that way, but we actually are not food for them. You don't disturb them, they just go by you. They don't care. They don't need to eat.
There is risk, no?
Yeah, now I get the risk. Okay, I did not think about sharks.
There is no risk.
There must be risk. You never know.
So there are actually YouTube videos which show that even if you are cut, that whole idea that the blood will bring them out is not necessarily true. So sharks don't find us edible. Like we are not food for them. So diving with sharks is not a dangerous thing. Okay. You have to be careful. You have to be careful at any environment.
How do we have to be careful over there? What should we not do inside?
You should not try to touch them for sure.
Okay. No. We are not going to do that.
For sure. Don't ever try to touch a
It's
shark.
a no-brainer,
Yeah. And even if they don't come. They just come to see what you are, because you're just a floating object in their world. Okay. And over a period of time, they get accustomed to you and they just swim around you. They don't care. They really don't care.
How big is it?
It's probably as big as me or bigger. Yeah. The small ones are as big as me. The big ones are almost 2 times my size.
Oh God.
It was incredible. Just like, that's what I said. That whole dive, after coming out of the dive, I was sitting on the boat and I was crying my heart out. I was like, it was so overwhelming And yeah, I caught hold of my instructor, and I'm literally crying, and I'm thanking her for the best experience of my life.
I feel like inside the water right now, experiencing everything, whatever you've told me.
Especially if you can see his face now, then you are going to feel everything. It's very,
Great storyteller, no?
it's very expressive.
It's
Now tell me a few things. Like when you were down there, it must be a feeling like this is a whole another world. It's
Yes.
almost like you are in different universe, right?
totally. You feel like you feel like an outsider. You feel like, I think as you dive more, you start to become one with the ocean, and you start to understand it better. You start to understand yourself better, your body. Yes, but till that point of time, you're still like a viewer and just seeing things happening, seeing those those beautiful creatures go by, live their life, and you're trying to understand that this whole massive world that is out there. And what you start to understand is you are still responsible. Like, when scuba diving, I've actually found plastic bottles there. It's horrible. It's horrible to see what we are doing to the environment. It is really, really sad.
Sharks are much wiser than us. Otherwise, if we were like someone else polluting, we would eat them the moment they get over here.
I swear, because I have seen that, I have seen that how, like, there are small fish that are stuck in those bottles. I've seen all of those things. So my friends in Aquanaut and all, they have actually rescued.
What's an aquanaut?
Aquanaut is a company. It's a company that does scuba diving.
I thought scuba
trips.
divers are also called aquanauts, just like astronauts.
No. So Aquanaut is a company that curates scuba diving experiences for everyone. They're based out of Bangalore, so they're really amazing team. I know I'm trying to talk about them, but they've really changed my life. So they're like this amazing team, amazingly sweet people. So once there was this turtle that had this net wound around them. So they were able to catch the turtle, and cut the net out. So it's an experience. It's an amazing experience. But we also tend to become more understanding of how we are polluting, how we are creating. So each bottle that I'm using, it always pinches me to know that, okay, I might be adding to this, to the pollution that's already there.
If only we could get everyone down there so
Yes.
everyone would understand.
Your life will change because you then feel that you're responsible for this. That one bottle that you don't, segregate and throw it into any old dustbin, or you throw it outside, or you go to a picnic and you just leave it as dirty as it is, might find its way down to the ocean. So you, whether consciously or unconsciously, might be part of that. That very bottle could be from you. So you tend to become a little bit more responsible. You tend to become a little bit more wiser when it comes to this.
Yeah, thanks for making us understand the beautiful aspect of the scuba diving, that how we should control pollution also.
For sure.
Right. So that was amazing listening to you, the whole experience of scuba diving. So I think, do you want to add something to it?
To scuba
More?
diving? No,
Yeah.
I think
I think we have discussed everything regarding it, and we all should try it. I think we both are gonna try it for sure, and you should definitely try it out. Right. So I was thinking that let's deviate to the modeling side little bit. So I was just thinking that suppose a girl is there and you have shot with amazing actors, and you must have seen a lot of models in your career. So how will you define that? What is the way? Like, obviously there are many ways to go over there. There's no defined path, right? So what is your way which you will advise to someone who is interested in this field?
First and foremost, I would say that it's not just the external looks that matter. It's not just about the beauty that is out there that matters, but if you want to take up modeling seriously, you need to do a lot of introspection as to why are you doing this, for what reason are you doing this, are you serious enough about taking this as a full-time profession. If you are serious, if you are willing to do that hard work and the effort, then you have to start doing your homework properly. You have to start understanding that it's not just about looking pretty, but it's about the whole attitude, the confidence, and everything that matters. It's about taking care of yourself, taking care of your you have to educate yourself about this matter.
Yeah.
You have to take care of your grooming, your hygiene, your health. You have to exercise,
Skin, hair,
your skin.
everything.
No, it's not just about the skin and the it's not just about that, but you need to understand how is it that you can fit into that modeling portfolio.
Yeah.
So you need to educate yourself about posing. You need to educate yourself about your whether you want to become a ramp model or you want to become
print
a print model,
TVC model, lot of models are
lot
there.
of categories. So
High
you need
fashion model.
So you need to find your space there, and then you need to understand that how do you go about the process of becoming there or getting there. You need to. It's very. I believe that for any model, it's essential to learn posing.
Yeah, that is the must.
You have to learn posing. You have to understand expressions. You have to understand how your face is, how the light comes off the face.
Yeah.
So it's not just about standing in front of the camera.
Yeah, that is the thing. Now, a lot of people think that it's very easy being in front of either in front of camera or back of the camera. You are getting what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so it's very easy. Just stand and it's very easy. Every girl is a model, which a lot of Indians think. Which I'll precisely say.
Because I wouldn't say I'm a professional model, but I like being in front of the camera as much as being behind it. I like so when you stand there, you have these lights that are on you. So it's like a very unique experience.
Special feeling.
It's a very unique experience, and to understand that when you have this, that you might think at that point of time that the whole world is watching you. So how do you react to that feeling, that whole that world is watching you on your shoulders kind of a feeling. So you need to practice for all of that. That has to become like second nature to you, being in front of the camera. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and start posing, start understanding how your structure is and everything. It's because not every photographer is going to be able to tell you, or not every shoot that you do, you're not going to have somebody who tell you how to pose, how to do this, how to bring out this expression.
That is your job. That is model's job, right? Only photographer can dictate a bit that this angle I want, little bit this tilt or that tilt, or you can get inclined towards that or this. That much only dictation photographer can do. Otherwise, rest is model's job.
Correct.
Right?
So that means that you have to do your research. If everybody decides to do a theme, you have to understand the nuances of that theme. What are the colors that are going into it? What are the expressions? What are the poses that would go with that? That whole feeling. So all of this should become like a part of you doing your research before your shoots.
Exactly. And same happened with me. The moment I came to Bangalore, I literally took 1 year before entering into this field professionally, right? I used to practice posing, and I'm highly inclined towards walks. You must be seeing that on Instagram. I used to walk. I used to see Naomi Campbell. She's the epitome of walk. She's a model, Victoria's Secret model she was, and now Victoria's model is shut, so we don't know what is the future. Some stores are shut, but fashion shows are not happening because of
ramp walks are
not happening. Reduced. Last was in 2018. So I used to see her like on YouTube with 0.25 into speed and with 0.75 and then with minimum. I was just learning everything from her, and it took me whole 1 year to understand everything. It was not easy. There are different type of walks, and people think it's very easy to walk. It's very difficult to maintain the balance and to just walk like this and like this. And
tell them to walk normally with heels on. They'll understand how difficult it is to catwalk on a lamp.
No chance. So it's modeling as much as photography or as much as any other profession, any other this thing. You have to make that effort. Again, talent will only take you so far. External beauty will only take you so far. Beyond that, you need to understand what you have to do. You need to research about what you have to do. You need to develop yourself. You have to develop your skills even in that matter. Everything is something that you have to develop.
Yeah, you need to have that hunger in you, that thirst and that fire, that you should be very passionate about this, that I want, even if like sometimes what happen when you are just beginner like me, so sometimes people call you at 6 a.m. and then you have to wait till 6 p.m. That patience you should have.
Correct.
You should be mentally prepared for everything, and still at 6 p.m. you should stand up with a smile and
Correct.
completely as energetic as you were at 6 a.m.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot about patience. It's a lot about how much passionate you are. Then only you will feel beautiful inside. It's an art. I feel modeling is an art of expressing yourself. Like singing is also an art where you just express yourself in terms of singing, and I feel modeling is an art where you express yourself in different form. If you are a print model, you just do it in terms of posing. If you are a runway model, you do it in terms of walk. You just define yourself, how confident you are, how passionate you are, and how beautiful you feel when you
can
just
see that expression on her face. That is actual passion showing through. That's the whole reality of it. That's how much effort and hard work that she puts in. That I'm not joking. That's exactly how it is. And another thing is that what I liked about the entire experience shooting with you is you're receptive.
Okay.
You don't take criticism as a bad thing. You understand and you try to manipulate yourself. You need to change yourself at that point. That is very, very essential. If somebody comes, whether it's as photography or modeling, if anybody comes, you don't have to get defensive. You understand that they are saying something. You can listen to them. You don't have to be defensive. Listen to them. If you feel that it's right for you, incorporate it. If you're not, you just, it's their opinion. They can say what they want and move on. So that's the thing that you have to learn, that you have to be receptive to people's opinion.
you have to take it constructively, right?
Yes.
You have to take information like a sponge, no? You have to churn everything, especially when you are growing up, no?
Correct.
You have to listen to everyone. Yes, obviously, ultimately, to be true legend, you have to fabricate or craft something of your completely own with your own identity. But you have to learn as much as possible. That's
Correct.
also true.
And another, I wouldn't say advice, but it's something that I have followed. So when I started with photography, even when it was coming to editing or when it was coming to lights and all of that stuff, I did not follow a lot of people. I did not see a lot of other people's work because I was so afraid that if I saw somebody's work, if I saw what they were doing, that I would subconsciously copy what they were doing. That it would become that I was trying to replicate their work, their lighting or their editing. So I was so scared that for the, I think, first 2 or 3 years, I think only recently, maybe 1.5 to 2 years back, did I actually start making an effort to look at other people's work, because by then I was very safe and secure in knowing that my workflow was this. My understanding of light was this. My creative instincts were moving towards this. So I was not threatened by looking at other people's work. So it took me that amount of time, and I think that everybody, every creative person who's trying to create something should do at least some amount of soul searching or internal searching to find out, to force themselves to think creatively and come out with their own themes and work around it. Like a lot of people have told me that you should be following this person, you should be following that person. I agree. It's good to have inspiration. But you can start seeking out that inspiration once you know that you are secure in your own.
Do you believe in idols? Like a lot of times people ask this question, that who's your idol? Like that. Do you have any?
No, I don't have any idol.
That is the thing. Do you have any idol, Komal?
Yeah, I do have, because modeling is, I think in this aspect is a little bit different, because if I don't know how to walk, then obviously I have to follow a person. Obviously I have to look up to some models, because this is a different art. It's more about experimenting in regard of colors and lighting. But if I was a person who never wore heels, everybody used to say that you're this tall, and I was lean, so I was a little bit conscious that okay, I'll be more tall and people will be like, you are so tall and you're wearing heels. So also I was comfortable with flats all the time. So when I just saw models that okay, now I have to wear heels and I have to walk, so I had to follow. I didn't even know how to walk into heels.
It's not that with every artistic form that you
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
be
yeah.
able to find this, but because in yours you need to learn from there, and then
Exactly.
once you gain your experience and you're
The
put into a
basics,
situation,
then only I can. Now
Correct.
I rarely follow someone, right? Earlier I used to follow a lot of models, like Naomi is there, Adriana was there, and this Romy was there. So I was little bit Tyra Banks was there. I was just following them like crazily, and now I'm like following myself only.
Correct.
Working on myself. I'm standing in front of mirror. I'm just posing in different ways. I'm not following someone. So I think I've got the
what I meant by idol is like the one person that you look up to, the one person that you want to become like. So that is not idol, Komal. Actually, you are taking inspiration and you're learning from a lot of people. You're looking
Correct.
at Naomi Campbell and learning how to walk, maybe expressions and posing from Romy Street, like that. But it is not like a single person that you admire.
there's no one person that you admire.
So a lot of people have had few people on my podcast who says that this is my mentor or this is my idol.
Mentor is again different.
Yeah.
See, idol is somebody. I think that it's somebody that you want to embody within yourself. Their characteristics, what you like about them, what you admire about them. Me personally, I don't have any idols, whether it's in my profession. I think if I have to, I used to idolize my dad and my mom and all of that. Then what happened is, as I grew up, I understood that they're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. So when you begin to understand that fact that that nobody is perfect, there is, along with good, there always exists evil. There's a balance. So when you understand that balance, you tend to not idolize somebody because everybody has good and bad in them. So when we idolize somebody, we don't idolize the bad parts. We only try to idolize their good, knowing what they're showing to the world.
Yeah.
You don't know what that person's history is, or where that person has come from, or what they are beyond what you see. So how can you idolize somebody that you don't know fully about?
Yeah.
You are just idolizing the image that they're showing you.
Yeah.
I mean,
now I realized, I guess, because I feel I followed them, but later on, I at the end of the day, I would love to create something of my own.
Correct.
Like that. Because we are artists. We'd love to create something of our own.
So when you have this is again, it's a very, very personal opinion. When you have an idol, you tend to look at them as these very perfect beings. That this person can do no wrong or can not make mistakes.
I tried finding flaws in them also.
Trying is okay. But the whole thing about idolizing someone, when you idolize somebody, you put them on a pedestal. You put them somewhere that you can probably not attain.
Idol gas.
Untouchables. So with everybody, with everyone, with what you do, with what I do, with what he does, with everybody, we all are unique. Correct? We all have our good points, bad points. We all have our pluses and minuses. We all have our skeletons in our closet. We all have every one of those things. We need to accept that there is always going to be good and bad within us. That is our balance. That is our core. So when you accept that, then you stop trying to make everybody this unapproachable, unattainable things. Yeah. You start valuing yourself also, saying that today I am here. Tomorrow I might be somewhere else. So I will work on getting myself better, trying to do better for myself, not comparing or not trying to idolize somebody and then trying to be like them.
No, you said it perfectly. Like, you are not saying that a perfect person is idol. It is like the image of that person is idol, and the name itself says that idol cannot be real, right? So it is okay that you keep the image of a particular person as your idol. It is something that you can try to get close to.
Inspired from.
Yeah.
Inspiration from.
Yeah.
But never be them.
Because then you will be known as copy of them.
Correct.
Right. So you'll never be recognized for something of your own. That is the thing.
Second best.
Yeah.
So it's like in photography, in video making, and so 99% of whatever you're doing is probably already done. But in your own eyes, you are creating it for the first time. So that means that it is brand new for you. Maybe the photo that I have taken, that same color composition, that same color rendition, that same theme composition, somebody else would have done it. I mean, there are 7 billion people in the world, that somebody else would have done it for sure. But your happiness comes from the fact that you thought of it and you are doing it.
Exactly.
You are creating it.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
if you get overwhelmed with the fact that, okay, 99% of everything is already done, then you will stop trying to be better. You will stop trying to be more than what you already are.
Yeah. Great. So, sir, basically, you want to say something?
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, sir, like, if suppose a model is approaching you for a photo shoot or like that, what do you see now in that model?
I, first and foremost, especially if it is collaborative work, if she wants a collaborative work, I ask them that, I tell them that I don't do glamour shoots. Glamour is not my forte. Okay. I want to do something that is different from what I usually do. Hopefully something that I will learn from that experience. It could be a good experience, something that is different from what I have already done. So I'm hoping that when they come to me, that they want to do something different. It is not about looking pretty in a picture. It's about having a good theme. It's about having something that they have done differently.
Feeling the feel of the shoot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So especially me, I like very dark themes. I like very moody, dark
I've seen
themes.
that in Instagram profile where the person is sitting over there and you just put the whole room in dark phase, and that one light is coming over the face, that red one.
Correct.
Remember?
Yeah.
You should.
So I'm very that way. I think, I don't know why, but I have this thing for darkness, that especially red and darkness and that whole moody feels.
Whatever is the picture that is in your head, you want to create in reality, right?
I always hope that it comes out as that. Off late, again, like I said, I think I've hit a plateau and I'm not able to. It's become more of survival right now rather than thinking creatively. But I have to go back into that creative mode.
Well, men are at the best when they are surviving, no? They're the most creative.
Men and women.
Yeah, I mean, same.
Men, women, and all other
creatures,
everybody.
monkeys, elephants.
No, I think, no, now... Honestly, I think we have to also understand that it's no longer just about men and women. We have to be gender equivalent.
All right.
So, no, everyone has, we all have this creative blocks in any profession, everything, and we have to work through it. So right now, I have been creatively blocked. Like I'm not able to think of themes that are doing, just because I want to survive this whole Corona situation. And my family and friends have been like my biggest support. Doing a shoot with you has, again, helped me, clear some of those cobwebs that I had, because I was not able to do anything. And not having gear is a very big problem.
We can plan something soon too.
Don't you think that ultimately it is not like once or twice in your life when you take risks, but risk is a continuous process?
Oh yeah.
And you have to do it
every
again.
day. Every day that you wake up, every day that you are awake, and every day that you're following or trying to do what you love doing, you are always fighting a battle. You're always fighting a war.
Yeah, so maybe if you reach a plateau, maybe that is what you need to do again to get satisfied.
Possibly.
Yeah.
My whole funda is that when you reach that plateau, what keeps you awake or what gets you up every morning is your passion for what you're doing. If you didn't have that drive, if you didn't have that passion, you would give up right then and there. Because it's very difficult to push yourself when you don't have a reason to. So every morning, everyone who's going through a difficult phase, everyone who's going through a creative block, everyone who's going through these difficult times, every day when they wake up, they are fighting a war and waking up. And every day that they go through the entire day, they're fighting within themselves. Their questions of why they're doing, what they're doing, is it going to change? So I tell them, like, I want to tell everybody that, you guys are all fighting your own wars, you're all fighting your own battles, and it's an amazing thing. And that they should never give up, because that is what makes us unique, right? That is what we are doing. If we gave up, then maybe we are not meant to be in what we are doing.
Yes.
But what I've found so far is like, it is not always necessary that you have only single passion. Sometimes you need to
of
try
course.
other things as
I
well.
totally believe it.
Out of the current
I totally believe it.
Yeah.
When I started off, people initially first they said that okay, I was doing flowers, I was experimenting with flowers and all of that stuff. Then they're like, "Huh, yaar, this is another person with a DSLR." That was what they started off with. Then I got into portraits and stuff like that. And then people were like, "Okay, you're good at portraits. I think you should stick to it." That was not something that I liked, because I didn't like sticking to one thing.
Nobody does, I think.
No, it's comfort again.
What? Sticking to a particular
Yes, it's comfort. You're doing something that you're good at.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. That is comfortable, but you don't like it.
I personally don't like it, but there are a lot of other people who do.
Nobody does. They just do it because it is comfortable and it is safe. Yeah.
So when comfortable, safe is equal to stability.
Yeah. But it is not equal to happiness.
Might not be, but for some people it might be.
Not really. Ask them really before they go to bed.
No, I know of people who are very comfortable doing what they normally do, and it's never altered. They've had a very happy routine, same thing. But for me personally, it was never that. Like, I wanted to experiment with different photography genres. When some people get good at a genre, right, it just becomes very difficult for them to change. They are comfortable in that. They're comfortable in the knowledge that they know that whatever situation is thrown at them, they're able to do it and do it well, do it perfectly well. So why put themselves into an uncomfortable place?
Because ultimately you have to keep on learning new things to be really
Correct.
happy. Yeah.
That you can do when you're young. As you grow older, as your responsibilities become more, as you start being responsible for more lives, and you have a responsibility towards other people, what you tend to do is that you tend to start going to your comfort zone.
That's a good excuse. Because it is up to you. Yes, you have to bring money and you have to run a family.
Correct.
But can't you do that with following your passion and trying to learn
Not
something
all the
new?
time.
That is possible. It is not like it is difficult.
If at all I am earning 25k,
Yeah.
right now I am 36 years old.
Yeah.
I'm earning 25,000 rupees. If at all my wife was not earning what she was earning, it would have been very difficult to run my house.
But then only you would find more ways to do that.
Correct. But would you risk it? So right now I'm making this 25k with this job, that this one field, this one genre that I'm good at. Would I risk stopping doing that genre of photography to go follow my creative love?
If you really always think like that, then you would never risk to leave your job as well.
Correct.
Yeah. Then that
So
is what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Each risk that you're taking becomes a war.
Yeah.
Each risk that you're taking today, tomorrow, becomes something that you're fighting for.
Yeah.
And it's easier when the responsibilities are lesser.
Yes.
And it becomes more difficult when the responsibilities become more.
And the problem is that when you think that difficulty is a problem. Life is difficult no matter what you do. Even if you stay with a safe life, it is still going to be difficult. You take risks, it is going to be difficult.
Correct.
You choose which one you have to take.
So exactly. So you choose which difficulties that you want to take. You're saying that you choose your battles.
Yeah.
So those guys, people who are comfortable with their genres have chosen that, okay, this is something that I'm good at. I'm extremely good at this. This makes me money. This makes me professional.
Yeah.
So why should I break this? or why should I break my head trying to learn something new at this age?
See, it is not a question of why. We all know why, because it gives us pleasure to learn new
Correct.
things. If I learn a new martial art today, I will be much more happier and I can stay convenient. Okay, I know striking, I'll keep on kicking backs, but I need to get into jiu-jitsu because I know that ultimately you need the skill of both. So that is the thing. If you
Correct.
Yeah. But ultimately, what I'm saying is that there can be two skills. One that you're developing that does not really create money, just like when you were working and you were creating the skill of photography. And there's other skill that is creating money.
Correct. And to develop this skill that is not making money would mean that you have to break your streak of laziness
Yes.
and your comfort zone. So if that was the case, we would have very less number of IT people working right now.
Yeah. See.
So we still have as much population as we know getting into engineering, getting into those safe professions, certain professions. Why? Because it gives them some amount of stability, some amount of lesser risk,
Yeah.
and then they get used to that life because they've struggled before. Then they get used to that comfort level,
Yeah.
and they are scared of moving out. Like for me,
Yeah.
that this whole period of Corona was a very, very difficult time for me because I had gotten used to a certain skill set,
Yeah.
and I did not know how to go beyond it. I had become very comfortable, very lazy in my skill set,
Yeah.
and I was not developing anything new. So it was like every day was a war just to tell myself that it's okay. You have come this far. Right now, this is not making you income. How do you do something different? So that battle is an ongoing process, and sometimes you will lose more often than winning. And going over, you lose because
there's no doubt that you cannot do those difficult stuff by being lazy. There's absolutely no doubt. You have to be pinpointed. So for example, right now, my main money is coming from YouTube, but I want to
diversify.
I want to build my course on speaking skill. That does not really create money. But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to keep on working on that. Meanwhile, the side thing supports. Meanwhile, the speaking skill will develop money. And when it does, I'll try to develop something else.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you need to have that forward thinking. You need to have that passion, that drive. And a lot of us get tired trying to be that energetic all the time.
Yeah.
So a lot of my battle is to try and be that energetic every day, and it doesn't happen a lot of times. The days it does, I'm trying to go out and create something new. The days I cannot, I'm losing those battles.
Can you give me water?
Okay. Yes, that is very, very true. I'll have to see it 10 years later if I'm saying the same things.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have I'm very lucky to have the support system that I have. My family and my friends group, my friend circle of professional peers that I have, they are amazing people. Like they push me and they push me to do more. Not everybody is that lucky. I am telling you, I'm living a very privileged life.
So you mean a support system should be there? Like that is
If
an
it's-
add-on.
If it's there,
That
it
is
is
an
great.
add-on. It's great, no? It's everything, no? Which I feel like Ashish is with me every time in this field, right? So whenever I feel pissed off, whenever I feel frustrated, so you have someone, right?
Yeah.
You have someone to discuss your thoughts with, discuss your frustrations with.
Absolutely.
Right, so they'll find a way for you. That is it.
A lot-
Like your wife did for you.
No,
she found scuba diving for you.
Correct. A lot of
Yeah.
times, but no. So I wouldn't. So a lot of times there are some things that I can't tell my family, like about the financial burdens or about the difficult situations, because then they might think that again this choice was the wrong choice for me. So a lot of those times it has been like my friends and my good friends and everybody. So she's yawning. And I think you
That
please
is
know.
only-
She always does that. She in Torq and Fire
She's yawning.
podcast.
She's bored.
She always does that. Don't get offended. Don't
Nah,
get
I'm just-
offended from two things: she yawning and she laughing without any reason. So I learned
I'm just
that.
pulling her. It's just the conversation has become very serious. So much seriousness I can't handle.
I don't know yawning. I do it every time.
Our audience
whenever-
is tired of it. They don't say anything.
Yeah, you know it. I can yawn when I'm speaking also. Okay.
Plus, she had samosas.
Correct. Very good samosas that one.
Very good samosas. I thought that I'm ordering 4 samosas, got 8. So
So it's somebody's lucky day.
yeah.
No, it's good to have a good support system. It's always I think again I'm very privileged, very lucky to have the friends that I have made in my life. They've helped me a lot through a lot, and they've encouraged me. They've encouraged me to do a lot of things. Like they didn't laugh at my choices. They weren't saying that why did you do this. So I was very lucky. Still am lucky.
Nice to hear that.
All right, that is great. We had a 2-hour-long conversation.
2 hours.
Yes, it's a 2-hour-long conversation.
All the best for editing all of that out.
Yeah. So actually, my memory card is going to run out exactly at 2 hours. So that is why I'm
I think
Okay.
we should say goodbye.
Yeah, we are going to definitely do it again. It was a very intuitive podcast. We learned a lot about scuba diving, photography.
Yeah, no, it's like slowly I've gotten down to here. And I'm like, okay, now let's go.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to do it again sometimes. Next time we are going to have a third mic. Otherwise,
Yes, and I want to say that thank you guys for this amazing experience. It's the honor and privilege is all mine. It's fun, and I really love your podcasts and I love your videos. So it's like your YouTube videos are playing on one screen and I'm actually working on the other screen because half the time I'm just listening to what is happening. So it's a lot of fun, and thank you guys for doing this.
That's everything. Mission accomplished of our podcast.
we wanted to be over here for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wanted to be here. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We want cool people. You're the coolest.
Oof. Okay. That feels nice. Very nice.
Look at his hairstyle, obviously.
Oh, this is because I finally had an excuse to grow my hair.
Yeah.
I've always wanted this. This was on my bucket list. Trust me, it was on my bucket list. Long hair. Yeah, that's ticked off for sure. Now, I want to grow it a little bit more. Maybe about this. It has to come sweeping at least my lower back. I mean, lower back is not possible. Upper back, sorry.
You look like you belong to a band.
I know.
With a guitar.
Oh my god. That's another thing on my bucket list. I don't know if that'll be possible, but someday. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Bye. So my Instagram profile is Karthik's pictures. You can
Yeah,
look me up.
they saw it at least 5 times because I'll put it in editing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Sorry, I thought I should brand myself.
Yeah, everything else we are going to
Just put it.
Scrolling.
Yeah, we are going to put everything else down in the description box, other contact information and all. Look him up. He's a fantastic photographer, really talented. We are very happy that
They're
he
being
left
very
your
kind.
job.
They're being very sweet. You
No,
can
no,
judge for yourself once you see the work.
You are being humble. You can do that. Go over there and you'll understand.
Don't ping him like this. Hey, can you do photo shoot?
Don't respect the photographer a little bit.
Yeah,
Don't do
I
that.
really like the way you actually the way you approached me was really nice. I think if you want any tips, you should DM her and ask her how she messages photographers. I think it's really nice. the
No,
way
just don't copy paste anything. Just
it's very personalized.
just see everything. Whatever you like, whatever you feel from heart, just write it down. That's the only key.
Yeah. And you don't feel it by heart, you don't approach the goddamn photographer. All right, guys.
Cool. Anyway, peace. Take care of yourselves.
We are going to see you again next week. This is a weekly podcast available in all the audio platforms. Okay. Let's
Take
get
care.
late. See you
Bye.
next
Stay
time.
safe.
Bye bye. Keep smiling and bye bye.